Hello, my name is Ben Wilkoff, and welcome to another daily anti-fascist video of Inspired Defiance. Today I'm outside, being inspired by Donald Trump telling everyone that he would like to have the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois arrested. He believes that these leaders should be jailed because they are not supporting his effort to bring in the National Guard and have them act as police officers, as people who are immigration enforcers, and even people who are just trying to control crowds that would not be there if he did not bring in the National Guard. The demand to imprison political opponents for not breaking the law, but simply failing to protect the federal agents and the National Guards people that are in the city illegally is incredibly dangerous. Are we to understand that the only consequence there can be for political dissent is a jail cell? Ultimately, this isn't about policy debates, and it's certainly not about immigration. It is about control. It is authoritarian posturing. It is claiming authority that doesn't really exist. And when the truth of our laws is so obscured that you can recommend jail sentences for simply leading the people in the way that they wish to be led, which is exactly what these democratically elected leaders are doing. It circumvents accountability. It installs absolute power, and it destroys the idea that there is objective truth in favor of the idea that those in power have the ability to dictate to us what the truth is. I'm inspired also, once again today, by our Supreme Court. They heard oral arguments today about the ability for individual politicians to sue entire states for their election laws. They seem sympathetic to the idea that these politicians, these candidates, should be able to dictate what the election laws are that govern them within the elections that they are running for. And this is not an abstract legal debate. It's kind of a direct attack on the integrity of our elections, particularly when these are political allies of President Trump. They are putting their thumbs on the scales, trying to engineer an outcome for themselves that they wouldn't otherwise be able to have if they just let the votes come in and count them. It is an attempt to create a systematic, coordinated plan for seizing and keeping power, undermining the will of the people in the process. They are trying to turn our political system, our democratic system of electing those who represent us, into a system that is completely partisan. The ground underneath our elections seems to be shifting, tilting ever so slightly, or perhaps even at a great angle, towards a particular political party. This is not representative democracy. The institution of our elections should not be able to be perpetually won by one idea, by one party, by one attempt to control it. I am a deep believer in the fact that elections have consequences, and I do think that we are feeling some of those consequences right now. But once the election happens, it should not be that those who were elected close the door behind them and make it so no one else can come in, that there are no new ideas that are possible, and that only one political party can survive. That is totalitarianism, and that is fascism. And finally, I'm inspired today by just how little Pam Bondi said in her hearing yesterday to Congress. Instead of providing answers to many questions that were being authentically asked by senators in the hearing room, she chose to only provide praise to President Trump. To my ear, it sounded a lot like what we hear every single time there is a cabinet meeting, and they spend the entirety of the time when the press is in the room simply extolling the virtues of our president. This kind of rhetoric is only meant to soothe one ego and has nothing to do with supporting the entire country and those who either voted or did not vote for that man. This kind of rhetoric is devoid of genuine policy. Instead, it veers into the cult of personality and is only interested in providing talking points that work for that one personality. And at this point, all I can do is question, what does this do? What is the impact, the effect of only praising, never criticizing, of never answering questions when they are presented in an authentic and curious way? To me, its only impact is that it orients us around a singular leader, and his interests, his ideas, and his whims are all that matter. The truth doesn't matter. Answering questions doesn't matter. Elections don't end up mattering. And once again, I'm left wondering just how long we are going to allow this kind of cult of personality to exist. How long we are going to allow people not to answer questions, to just try and score political points or just bend the knee to a single leader who does not signify the entire country. I think the No Kings movement has it right. We cannot have that single leader. We must be bigger than a single presidency and a single moment in time. We must ask more and better of our leaders and ourselves.